company.
We have everything here. Children, dogs, everything.
Chico, kom eens hier. Kom hier. Chico, hier. Goed. Chico, sit.
Okay, so we were talking about samadhi, and samadhi is the state that everybody is looking for or wanting to be in a state of pure peace. And that's what we're all wanting in this life, and searching for it. And as Anastasia said, it's not something, just because once you realize, oh, we're all one, and you go, oh, I'm now enlightened, which just seems to be the modern language. People study a little yoga. Oh, I'm so enlightened. Samadhi is not about that. Even the fact that you have to say, I am enlightened, is already saying that you don't understand samadhi. Already saying that. If you listen to all the great sages and saints and sages, they will say, my Father and I are one. We are brothers and sisters. We are one. They won't say, I am enlightened. And when they say, I am enlightened, the great masters, they're not talking about themselves. They're talking about the divine within. Now it's hard to see. Our master always said, it takes a thief to recognize a thief and a saint to recognize a saint. And this is the way it works. So today we're going to speak on something really important. One of the most important things. Because in order to reach any state of peace, you first have to understand. Oh, sorry, somebody's trying to get in. I'm sorry about this. She's totally lost.
The dog is not doing his work.
She's looking at the window. You know what? We'll do a few mantras just to get warmed up. I think you start that again. So let's do a few mantras while we wait for people, shall we? Let's do some arms, rolling arms. Will you join me? Yes. Okay. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May all those people in Japan be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May all the troubles in the Middle East be eased with peace and joy, love and light. Please focus on your heart. There, see a brilliant light. Feel the warmth in your heart, that energy, that vibrant energy, and please send it out to our beautiful earth. Mother Nature, the skies, the waters, the land, and send peace and love out to our earth. Om Shanti, 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 Shanti. Peace to all, peace to all, peace to all. We say Om Shanti 3 times. The first time we say Om Shanti is for all the diseases that we encounter in life. different viruses. So we say Om Shanti to all those viruses and illnesses. The second time we say Om Shanti is for any kind of emotional sickness that we may have. Some mental disturbance, and we ask those disturbances to have peace, to be at peace. And the third time we say Om Shanti is to all the earth, the seas, the waters, so that there should not be any calamities and there should be peace with the earth and the waters. And that's why we say it 3 times. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So now you know when you're saying Om Shanti, you're really blessing all these 3 things in your own life. So you don't get disease, so you don't get mentally disturbed, so the earth is protected and no outside forces can disturb you. And that is the reason for saying it 3 times. And before we start, can I please ask anybody with mobile phones to put them off? Thank you. So today we're going to speak about a really important thing. Because one thing is talking about peace and being able to read it in books. And the other thing, the most important thing, is to live on this earth with peace. Because the moment we talk about it, everybody's very excited, we're very spiritual. Don't you know, we love everybody. You go home and somebody shouts at you and already there's conflict. Where is your inner peace? Where is your joy? Where is everything? Didn't you just say 5 minutes ago? Oh, I'm a yogi, I'm practicing this peace within myself. And you go home and you find somebody says, oh, why are you so late? You're already in a bad temper. You already react in a bad way. What have you learned? So when you talk about yoga, yoga meaning union with the divine, it's the way you are living. How can you ask for world peace? How can you ask for world peace when you can't even accept somebody telling, oh, you're late, and say, it's okay, what can we do? What can I do, darling? I'm late. You know, I got carried away, enjoyed my class, and laugh about it. What stops us from laughing about these things? Our ego. The way we react to human beings, the way we react to circumstances. We are trapped because so many years we're so conditioned, protecting, defensive, all the time. We want to fight. It's almost like we think the whole world is against us. And it's not true. It's just the psychology of understanding the world, taking time to understand people, being patient. Why is this person saying, you're late? Understand that they miss you. They didn't miss you? Oh, you back so soon? You take another 1 hour. I remember when I used to be late when my husband was alive. And he said, darling, you're very late. And I used to think, you know, he loves me so. And this is after practicing yoga. Before yoga was one big war, you know. But after practicing for many years, you know, I go, yeah, what can I do? You know, that I really try to be on time. But you know, sometimes it's very hard when I'm leaving. Somebody will cry or somebody has a problem. You know, I'm so sorry. What can I do? What would you do? And he goes, okay. And he was just really sad that I was late. It was not any other reason. He just missed me. That's all. It was his way of saying, I miss you. And if he didn't say it, then it'd be pretty sad. So after a while, I just realized every time he did that, I'd just laugh and chat with him, and it was over within 2 minutes. Then he'll say, oh, you know, I downloaded this really new series called Brothers and Sisters for you. It's just like your family. Would you like to watch it, you know? While he was alive, he always kept me in touch with what was the latest, you know? Now I don't know anything. You know, I used to tell my audience, have you watched, you know, what was it, Prison Break, you know? Because that's what I used to do with him, yeah. Or 24 and all that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's brilliant, see? But now I don't know any of the new series. Because that was my time with him. That's what he loved to do. I had my time with the world, which he was so generous with. And that was my time with him. And my time with him was to do what he liked to do. And instead of saying, oh, you're watching TV all the time, I realized that he was sent to me for a great, great reason. And the reason was that we were such opposites, that when you're doing all this stuff all day, working with spirituality, it can be quite tiring. And TV does switch you off totally. So for me, it just switched me off totally. It was really entertainment. And of course, I never take anything I watch in a movie seriously. So if you are the type to get disturbed by a film, then don't go and watch movies. Because I remember one time, my sister, I was with her in the States. We went to a Broadway play in New York. And her husband and her took me. And we watched Blood Brothers. Any of you seen the film Blood Brothers, or the Broadway play? Brilliant, right? But the ending is quite sad. So we were supposed to go out for a Mexican dinner afterwards, but she came out with such a bad headache and crying. So I said to her, sis, what's wrong? We'll go home, no need to go out for dinner. And she goes, oh, sis, it's such a bad ending. How did he die? And da-da-da. I said, it's just a Broadway play. It's just a play. They're probably having champagne backstage. And it really gave her a headache. And she hadn't realized. And her husband said, this is what she does every time she sees a sad movie. And she has a headache for 3 days. And he said, I keep telling her that, but she doesn't listen. And then she goes, but you don't know how I feel. And then next morning when her husband left, we had a long chat. And then she understood. And after that, she never did that again. But you see, sometimes we are locked in our emotions, and we think it's quite nice to show such compassion to sad stories. Why? Why? Why is it quite nice to get attached to sad things? Why? Why do people love to get attached to depression? Say, I am so depressed. I go, your mind is depressed. You are not. Are you your mind? Are you your mind? Are you your mind? Are you your body? Ask yourself these questions. If I'm my mind, then how can I watch myself think? I can see the positive and negative. So who is watching the mind think? I. Who is the I? Who is the I that's watching the mind? Who is the I that's neutral? Who is the I that's seeing these two things, demon and the angel? The person that's watching is only witnessing. The decision is made by you, your intelligence. How intelligent are you? Are you book intelligent, or are you spiritually intelligent? Emotionally intelligent? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. And then you make the right decisions. And then you can make the right decisions. If you follow your decisions from your ego and from material values, you will be very disturbed. And you know when you make a wrong decision. You know. So I knew I should have done the other thing, but I just couldn't help myself. I just couldn't help myself. You can help yourself. That is the practice of yoga. Develop that strength, that I, the one that is watching, develop that. And you can change anything you want. Anything. Because what is that I connected to? What is that I connected to? You tell me. What is it connected to? Who is that big I? Everything. All that is. It's witnessing. Who is witnessing? What is witnessing? When you die, who leaves your body? Who leaves your body? Your body is left here. So who are you? Yourself. Correct. So who gave you your name? Did you choose it? Did you choose your name? Did you come with your name? So your parents gave you your name. So it's not even yours, is it? It's not even yours. Your parents chose it, and they gave it to you. So if you start to ask these questions, then you realize, okay, if I am bigger than the mind and much more than the mind, then I can get strong to change the way the mind works. The mind is connected to everything we see on this earth. It's like a mirror, the Yoga Sutras say. It's like a mirror. it will reflect. So all your friends tell you, very good, very good. You're very happy because what do you see? Smiling face. And then you get happy. All your friend goes, I can't stand you. What happens? You reflect that and you become unhappy. You have no control over your mind. Zero. So today we're going to cover the 4 locks and keys. And the 4 locks and keys, we started with the first one yesterday, and I told everybody, memorize them. Whether you're doing the course or not, they will help you throughout your life. Throughout your life. Huh? The first, I'd like you to say it with me. We'll say all 4 and then we'll go through them one by one. First key to the lock is friendliness towards the happy. Can you all say it with me?
Friendliness towards the happy.
Compassion towards the unhappy.
Compassion towards the unhappy.
Delight in the virtuous.
Delight in the virtuous.
And disregard for the wicked.
Disregard for the wicked.
Again, friendliness towards the happy.
Friendliness towards the happy.
Compassion towards the unhappy.
Compassion towards the unhappy.
Delight in the virtuous.
Delight in the virtuous.
And disregard towards the wicked.
Disregard towards the wicked.
Okay, last week I spoke a lot about friendliness towards the happy. For the people who are new, I'll quickly go through it. Normally, when other people are happy, we are always, well, this is before again I started to understand the philosophy. We will say, oh, why are they unhappy? Why are they so happy? I remember when I was living in Gibraltar, when people had a new car or they got a new home, I used to hear, oh, they must be in smuggling drugs or something. And I thought, why would you even think that? Oh, because they got a new car, but don't you see they have a business? Maybe they've been working hard. Why do you automatically have to think that? But many, many people do. As many of the yogis were telling me the other day, now that they're getting happier, people are going, what are you doing? It's crazy, it's nonsense, or whatever they were telling them. All these things. When I first started on this path, everybody calls me a hypocrite. They're not happy for you to be happy. Whereas if you adopt friendliness towards the happy, when people are happy, be friendly towards them. Because when you're around happy people, what happens to you?
You get unhappy.
You become happy. And if you think, well, oh, I'm so happy you got a new home. I'm so happy you got this new outfit. I'm so happy you got this brand new, Apple, your iPad, Elena, I love it. And you put on mantras for us. It's great, Not jealousy, happy. And she shares it every time she comes when we have a teacher training. She puts on a nice mantra for us, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you have this. What happens? You are bringing up those vibrations in yourself. That means if you're happy, friendly towards these people, what are you attracting? The law of attraction. As you think, you become. But not only as you think. Because you can say, oh, I think I'm a good person, I'm a good person, I'm a good person. Or I'm friendly towards everyone. You can think it. Is your heart in it? And this is where you really have to watch. That your mouth, your head, and your heart are in harmony. Otherwise, there's no peace. How many times people, oh, I'm really, really so happy for you, and you can feel, well, you got it, right? It's so insincere. You wish they just wouldn't say it. It's better to keep quiet. Do you know? If you don't feel it, don't say it. It's better to keep quiet. It's a big insult, I think, to tell people something so untruthful. That's another of our laws. When you don't feel it, because they can feel it, and then it becomes a false friendship. And those kind of friendships normally end up in great conflicts because they're built very superficially. And anything that's superficial has a very weak grounding. So make sure when you choose your friends You choose them wisely. People that you spend a lot of time with. Make sure they're happy. Make sure they're elevating. Shankaracharya from the 6th century kept on saying this, Satsangatve Nisangatva, Nisangatve Nirmohatma, Nirmohatma Nishla Tattvam, Nishla Tattvam Jiva Mukti. What does it mean? When you're in good company, you are not in bad company. When you are not in bad company, you're elevated. When you're elevated, you become not attached to the material things or anything else. You become free. And when you become free, you're a living free spirit. And that's the whole of the yoga practices. You know, how many times I meet people, you know, and they go out to a party, and every time they go to a party, they come back depressed. I go, you went to a party, shouldn't you be happy? Oh, I don't know. You know, my friend said this about me. This person was gossiping about that one. That person was saying this. I didn't feel good enough. Nobody praised me because of my clothes. I got no attention. How depressing. Why would you want to go to a party then? If every time you come back, you have a bad day. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to be in a place that makes you feel so uncomfortable time after time after time after time? You want to be in a party, be with the type of party that makes you feel happy, elevated, joyful. But you come back the next day and you're not thinking, why did I go? Da 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 da. And then next time the same party happens and you're addicted to go back again, fall into the same trap again and again and again. And yoga is about having that ability to take yourself away from situations that control your joy, that control your peace. And taking that power back into your hands. Because you only have your body to look after and your mind. If you don't do it, who's going to do it? Most of us allow others to wreck our lives. And they're really not interested in wrecking us. They just say 1 or 2 words and they're enough to bring you down. Why do we allow that? We should not allow it. Somebody calls you stupid, you should be strong enough to say, well, that's their problem. That's how they see me. It doesn't bother me. I know I'm not stupid. You should have that kind of confidence. So they want to think me that way, fine. It's the prerogative, no problem. Why should they affect my life? Even for a moment. My life is too precious. I'm here to serve, love, give, meditate, purify, realize. What else is there to do? All going to die one day. What else can you do that means anything? Think about it. What else can you do that means anything? You can make your millions, you're going to leave it behind. Yes, you'll make your family very happy, or you'll make them very unhappy, because they'll all fight over it. So, you know, you can give it to the poor, you can help a lot of people, but what can you really do to shift consciousness? What can you really do to make a difference? Ask yourself that question. Simple things. Mother Teresa said simple things. My father used to say continuously, give love, give love, give love. Nalanie, just give love, give love, give love, and you'll get love. Nothing else to do. And that's all he did all day long. He'd walk into work, give love to his staff. They adored him. Anywhere he went, you know, every Friday, you know, the caretaker of the office block, he would bring him a huge box of cakes for his family. Every Friday for I don't know how many years, nobody knew. And then every Monday, for another stuff, the tea boy, he would bring him food. Indian food, because he was Indian. And nobody knew. He would go to our kitchen downstairs and I'll tell the cook, you know, make this, and take it in a tiffin and give it to him personally. You know? And my father had all the staff to do it, but he would do it himself. And little things like that, every moment of every day was filled with love. For his children the same. I remember walking home, Dad walking home with these spiral staircases up. And he'd go, where are my dollies? Where are my dollies? You know? Where are my girls? And come and hug us. Love all the time. With everyone, with everyone, with everyone. And everyone always came first. Guests came, you sit right at the end, the guests get the best seat. Go to a restaurant, children, behave yourself, eldest always treat. give them the best seat. If you have to sit on the floor, you sit on the floor, but guests are always served first. And you know, this is kind of the upbringing your parents probably, what you talked about, probably did. We've forgotten all these golden rules. And what is that attitude? Friendliness, not only towards the happy, but towards everyone. Friendliness, friendliness, friendliness. So that's the first key. The second one, compassion towards the unhappy. Compassion. Look at the word. Buddha uses this word a lot. In Buddhist teachings, compassion. The meditation of compassion. What does compassion signify to you? What kind of feeling? Anybody?
Empathy. Yeah,
Empathy. Empathy. I love that word. You feel what somebody else is feeling. Many people are depressed in this world today. I'm sure you meet them because I do every single day of my life virtually. Except for today. Everybody's being happy today. But people are unhappy. And, you know, life circumstances, for them, they're in a lot of pain. They're in a lot of pain. It doesn't matter whether you think it's big or small or such, oh, this person's bothering me again, same thing, again saying the same thing, poor me, poor me. No. Apply the key of compassion. Empathy. I'm sorry. What can I do to help? Not pity. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. How could this happen to you? Why did this person do this to you? What are you doing when you do that? When you agree with them too much, what happens?
Get worse.
They get worse. Exactly, they get worse. So try not to agree too much because you just make them feel worse than what they already feel. But empathy, I understand, is very painful. What can we do to help you lift yourself? I remember one of our students when we were doing the Raj Yoga course, she was applying, she was trying to work with the 4 locks and keys. And she had a friend who would constantly, was always depressed. You remember Jenny's story, right? She told us all this story. It was with a friend that was always depressed. So was she at the particular time of the friendship, because she always had back trouble. But of course, after a year of doing Hatha Yoga, her back started to heal, she started to feel lighter, she took the teacher training course, so her whole energy started to change. Now, instead of her friend being happy for her, her friend got more depressed and more angry with her every time she went there. And so she found that her friend would always tell her off when she was having a good time. So she didn't know how to treat the friend. So she used the key of, first she used the wrong key. She used friendliness towards the unhappy. It didn't work. It didn't work. Because the more friendly she was to her unhappy friend, the worse her friend got. Then she used compassion. Also, why did it work? Too long. The friend had been depressed for too long, right? So when she started to use compassion, her friend thought she was just playing games with her. She didn't really believe her, because she had made a difference. So finally, she worked it out at her talk. She said, I know which key I should use. So we said, what key should you use? Disregard.
Yeah.
What is disregard? I know I'm jumping. What is disregard telling you?
Ignore.
Ignore. Don't give it energy. Disregard for the wicked. Was her friend wicked? Friend was not wicked. But her friend, her nastiness towards her other friend was not a good act. So when somebody performs an act that is negative, how should you react? Disregard. When she gave compassion, didn't work. Friendliness, didn't work. So when she disregarded and ignored her after all, guess what? After a few months, the friend had no friends. Took about 5 or 6 months, And then she called this girl and said, I miss you. And then the acceptance of her changing and wanting to learn from her. Not every time that happens. Sometimes you just lose a friend, right? But do you see how the keys work? You really have to think very clearly in your mind what works for whom. Because many people, and then we had another case, Devi with Joy. Yeah, there was another case, Joy, her name was not Joy. I gave her the name Joy because she came into my office and all she did was complain about everything, about everyone. I don't like Spain because the people are like that. I don't like to come into Gibraltar because it's too noisy. I don't like. So she came inside and said, you really need to start thinking more joyously. So I gave her the name Joy. So let's call you Joy, so that you can lift yourself by yourself.
Was her name Dolores or something?
Her name was Dolores.
Dolores.
Yes, Dolores.
Dolores.
Yeah, which means Spain.
Dolores Joy quería,
That's
¿no?
right, so I gave her Joy, because she didn't understand about Sanskrit names, so I gave her Joy. So, we had one of the members in our yoga center, her name is Debbie. She's so lovely. Was such a lovely, such a kind woman. She really is. And she's been in the yoga center for many years in Gibraltar. She's actually American. She doesn't mind me telling this story because she's so lovely. And Debbie is just one of the kindest human beings you can meet. And so Debbie felt sorry. In those days, Debbie used, when I used to see people on a Wednesday or Thursday, in those days was every day, she was always outside my office. And you know, when people left, sometimes they left crying, sometimes they needed more help. I'd say, do some breathing with them, show them some, because 1 hour is not enough sometimes. And she'd be there so kind and sit. So one day she sat with Joy, and she started talking to her, and she felt really, really compassion, empathy. She has no friends, she has no one. So she took her on as a friend, invited her for dinner, took her out shopping, took her everywhere. So the next time Joy came to see me, 3 weeks later, Joy was joyful. 6 weeks later, Joy comes to see me again. Back to her old habits. She comes into my office. Oh, you know this woman, Debbie? She's a fool. I go, why is she a fool? I thought she's taking you out. You said she's so nice 3 weeks ago. What's happened? Because she invited me to her house for dinner. And all she does is look after her husband, and her husband's a creep. He's a horrible person. And she went on and on and on, and she should leave him. And I said, Joy, that's enough now. I had enough. I said, she has taken you with all the love in her heart as a friend. She loves her husband. Whether he's a creep or not, that's nothing to do with you. She loves him. And you have no right to insult her here in front of me, because I will not sit down and listen to this. You listen, you speak nicely, otherwise the door is there. So she got out, she got angry, she left. Good, I was very happy. I have no time for people like that. You know, no time, don't waste my time. My time is too precious. So Debbie came. Oh, Nalanie, I know she speaks badly about Boris. She keeps telling me I should leave him. And I said, and why do you take it? She said, because I'm applying compassion for the unhappy. I said, this is beyond unhappy. This is nasty. What should you apply? Ignore her. Oh, but I can't, Nalanie, because God said that even if they give me one cheek, I should give the other cheek. I said, but look at the occasion, the situation. Look at the situation. Is she going to learn by you giving the other cheek? You've already done it, it's not working, but do what you like. Anyway, this went on. So one day, Joy was moving house, and Debbie, who was about 70, 73 at that time, decides to help her. So she tells me, Nalanie, I'm not coming to the yoga today, I'm going to help her. And I said, Debbie, I love people helping people, but please be careful. I don't want you hurt. No, I can forgive anything. Okay, no problem. Do as you like. She goes and helps her 3 or 4 days, heavy stuff, etc. After all the work is done and the things are put into the container, Debbie tells her friend Joy, goodbye, I'll come up and see you off tomorrow. I'm going home. But instead of going home, Debbie thought she would stop for a cup of tea at a coffee shop next to the house. So she stopped there, she was tired, took a cup of tea in the corner. She sees Joy coming in, going straight to the phone, because Joy doesn't have a phone in her home anymore. Calling somebody and saying, oh, you know this Debbie? What an idiot. She thinks she knows everything. She thinks she's helping me. What is she doing? In my way. She's an awful lady and I wish she'd leave me alone. And Debbie got up from the chair. Joy was there like, she got caught out and she walked out. And that's when she applied the key, disregard. I'm so glad she didn't say anything, she just walked away. And then she came back and told us the story. And she said, I should have used disregard. I said, you can't save the world. We want to. We all want to save the world. But sometimes there are certain people that don't want changing. They really don't want you. They don't want your help. You gave her your help with all your heart and she didn't want it. She didn't want it. She didn't want it. So now you hurt yourself. She was so hurt, Debbie. She came to me sobbing and crying. I said, I did warn you. This is going to happen. But it's very good, I said, for you. It's a great lesson because now you know what key to apply with which situation. And I said, what have you done? You've just told her, you've just taught Joy that she can get away with abusing and treating you badly. And that's what everybody's done in her life. Allowed her to abuse them. But if you have applied the keys cleverly, you might have changed her by your different attitudes. Anyway, so these are the 4 locks and keys, and then we're on the compassion for the unhappy. And the reason why I brought these stories is so that you can see how you really have to think about this, how to deal with people in your life. When to use the compassion key. As much as you can for the unhappy, use the compassion key. As much as you can. The next one is delight in the virtuous. Normally, when we see good people, oh, are they acting? Are they really that good? Is it really possible people are so good? I mean, when I see you all, I know it's really possible. And really in my life, traveling all over the world, I have really seen there are just some amazing souls that live in this world. Amazing human beings that do some incredible things. And I don't even think they are doing. They just act this way naturally. Love flows out of them. Goodness comes out of them. So really, I would say there are far more virtuous people in the world than there are unvirtuous. And delighting in virtuous people, delighting in virtuous. When you delight in somebody who has a good quality, what does it make you feel? Happy, delightful. You want to adapt those qualities. Most of the time I see jealousy as hide, jealousy or envy when somebody is virtuous. Oh, she's just pretending, or he's just acting out. Oh, he just wants to be famous and that's why he's giving all this charity, Not, how generous, how kind. Again, when you delight, those are the qualities you will take on. And I'll tell you myself, how I learned this key was so vital in my life. I never thought of myself as a jealous person. Never, never, never. Until I started studying all these great truths. And then I discovered, oh my God, I'm a jealous person. And I even discovered where I was jealous and why. See, I've always admired, since I was a child, very intelligent people. Always admired that. I always wanted to learn and learn and learn. I love books from, I don't know when. My mother used to say, just give you a book and you're there all day with it, And so I loved intelligent minds. As I got older and studied more, of course, I was very lucky. I got straight A's in all my subjects, etc. Always asked to head the class, etc., etc. So I went through school and university like that. But every time somebody came to the class that was smarter than me, guess what I would feel? I wouldn't accept that I would feel that way because I was in denial, because I'm not a jealous person, or so I thought. And then when I started to meditate, I started to realize, I have this quality. It's horrible. And it actually makes me, because the more you practice purity of mind, the more clear your negative qualities are to you. And you know, I always say it's like when you have a black cloth and you drop a drop of coffee, you don't notice it. But if you have a white cloth and you even put one tiny drop of coffee, you notice it. And this is the work that comes with meditation, the work we're doing here, do good, be truthful. You see it so strongly. And I could see this jealousy like a spot, huge in my mind. So I said, I got to deal with it. So I use the key, friendliness towards the happy, if they were happy. Or, because then I also learned, later on in life, many intelligent people were so miserable. I also learned that.
Why is that?
Because they're always trying to prove themselves to be so smart, like what I was trying to do. And you always think that knowledge makes you a better human being, better than other people. Normally, very intelligent people have huge egos, and that's what it is. Huge egos. The more you know, the more everybody else becomes inferior, right? It's a kind of a weapon. I know this. And throughout the path in yoga, I learned it's not intelligence that makes you happy. So that was a really good thing for me to learn. And then when I used to see people who were smarter than me or knew more than me, guess what I would do? I'd delight in them, be around them, try and learn from them. I get really excited, somebody's coming. And created that energy. And now, I mean, for many, many years now, I have not experienced that feeling of jealousy. But I remember how it feels like. It's awful. Anybody here suffer from jealousy?
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. It's a symptom. Yeah. It makes you really sick in your stomach. It's awful. And it's horrible. I see so many people. It eats you alive.
Yeah, but
Yes.
like you say, everyone's in denial about it. I think everyone is jealous, but everyone tries to deny. I'm not a jealous person. Everyone thinks that.
Yeah.
Everyone's in denial about it.
Thank you, because I was too until I realized I don't like this in me. Good, thank you. I think so. Well, it's just that's not me. But now, when I learned that, I cleaned myself off that disease. Because when you're jealous, it's a disease. It's a dis-ease. It takes you away from your peace and your ease, right? It is a disease. And that's what I realized. And I wanted my peace more than anything else. So again, using the key, delight in the virtuous. Be around virtuous people. Want their qualities. That's why I say, in the studies of, the real study of spirituality, don't talk about it. Doesn't matter what books you read. Be the qualities that you admire. What qualities do you admire in, say, Mother Teresa, for example? What qualities do you love in Gandhiji? What qualities do you love in Gurudev? You know, what qualities do you love? Develop those. Develop those. When you develop those qualities in you, then by itself, the negative leaves you. You don't even have to fight so much against your jealousy, your anger, your fear, your worry. You don't have to fight against it anymore. You just develop that which is highest in you, and the lowest will disappear. There's no more space. There's no more space for the negative in your mind. And when they turn up, the good thoughts are so powerful now, that it goes, oh, you can keep quiet now. I don't need you anymore. I remember how I felt when you were in my mind. I remember how sick I felt. So that's delight in the virtuous. Delight, delight, delight. And develop those qualities. Become virtuous yourself. And finally, What's the last one, see if you remember?
Disregard.
Disregard for the wicked. Now, this doesn't mean a wicked person. It also applies to circumstances or occasions. Sometimes most people, everybody is really good inside, but even very good people can perform not very good things, right? Would you agree? Nasty acts. So that is life. Really good people sometimes even perform nasty acts. And what do you do in that case? You don't disregard the human being, but the act itself, you don't give it energy. You don't give it positive or negative. You just don't give it energy. And I learned that also when I was in school, when I was studying, actually I learned this when I was studying psychology in university. A professor taught us, they said, why do you think people nag? I think some of you know this story already. Why do you think people nag? So we said, why? Why do people nag? I said, I'll give you a scenario, he said. Husband walks home from work. Wife goes, darling, can you hang up the coat? So, okay, I'll do it later. Coat's on the sofa. Wife, 15 minutes later, hangs the coat for him. Next day, comes in, coat, throws it on the sofa. Darling, could you please hang up your coat? I'll do it later. No, you won't. You said that yesterday and you didn't do it. So please, can you hang up your coat? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I said, hang up your coat. Yeah. I told you I'm going to do it. 1 hour later, it's not done. Wife really gets angry now. Hangs up the coat. Next day, husband comes up. For God's sake, will you please hang up the coat before you sit down? Already a battle. And and then the fourth day, he walks in. Don't shout! I hang up the coat. Right? What has he taught her? What has he taught her?
That by nagging
she gets her way. When she shouted, she got her way. When she was nice, she did not get her way. Do you see how we teach people wrongly? So I thought that was a really interesting argument. So I was living with my 3 brothers in Los Angeles when I was in university. And my eldest brother was wonderful. He was really clean and he helped me, taught me, I come from a very wealthy family before that. He taught me how to wash clothes and laundry. I never did any of that. But he was very good. He taught me how to vacuum and cook and everything. So my other 2 brothers were a little lazy. They used to dump all the underwear under the bed, etc. But once I learned to do all this, I felt sorry for my 2 other brothers. So I adored my 3 brothers. And so I get their laundry and I would do everything for them. But now I was coming up to my exams and I was doing lit. And English lit, you have a lot of study material. And I said, I can't do that. Look after my 2 brothers, cook the food and everything and go to university all day long. What should I do? If I nag them, it's not going to work. I know my brothers so well. So what I did is I ignored the mess. I don't like mess. I never liked mess. So my brother's room got messier and messier. I said, hey sis, my room's really messy. I said, yeah, I know. I'm really busy studying. 1 week I looked into the room, disgusting, disgusting. And my eldest brother, at that time I'd left university, was already graduated. So he wasn't there to help me. So I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And inside I was longing to get there and clean it and get angry. I was getting angry with them. I said, look, ignore it, ignore it. That's the only thing you can do is ignore it. Don't give it energy, don't give it energy. And you would at that even before I read the sutras, right? Because I'm my psychology teacher. And after 2 weeks, I come back from university one day, and guess what? They both cleaned up their own rooms because they couldn't live in their own mess anymore. So, sometimes when you disregard, people have to do it for themselves. They learn to do it for themselves. You're always picking things up for them. They don't learn to do it themselves. But, because my selfish attitude is, I like everything clean, I gotta do it now, 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 now. So there's two ways. You want to do it now, there's either argument, which doesn't work. In the long term, you develop a lot of friction and conflict. Or you just have to have patience and allow people to learn for themselves. Let it be so horrible that they have to learn for themselves. And I remember many years ago, I had some parents crying because their son was deep into drugs, heavy stuff, years and years and years. And then finally, they went to all the care, social services, etc. He'd been in prison a few times, and the parents were falling apart. And I said, and they said, every time he goes into rehab, he comes out, he does the same thing. And I said, now we have to be a little tough. Every time he comes back, you give him so much love, maybe you forgive him too quickly and you do everything for him again, and then 2 weeks later he's back into the drugs. I said, next time he falls, don't allow him to come home. You have other children that are younger than him. Oh, we can't do that. That's not spiritual. I said, but he's getting worse and worse every time he goes in. He's on harder and harder drugs. You've got to be tough love. And so what happened was, he did go in heavy into drugs. They tried to tell him, please don't, please don't, please don't. He actually took he was, a scapegoat for a big drug, drug triads, right? Or whatever you call them. And he was a scapegoat. They sent him to South America with drugs in his suitcase. And as soon as he landed at the airport, he was searched. The guy with the real drugs was out, because there were two of them. Anyway, he was put into prison. And in South America, to get them out, impossible, virtually. Impossible. And and then after that, the parents said to me, he said, we babied him too much. We just babied him too much. And this, I said, don't worry. After this, he's going to learn. But I said, you're going to suffer for a year. Because it's going to take that time to get help. Anyway, we got help. We went to the British Embassy. And we were very lucky that the lawyer they got for him was a young girl who felt sorry for him. And within 1.5 years, and we helped raise the money at the yoga center to get his flights, to pay the lawyer. We all just chipped in together. And within 1.5 years, we got him out. And even all the embassies said that was a miracle that he got out. So, but after that, he changed totally. And today, he has a family, he has children, and he's got a new life. He had to fall so hard before he picked himself up. Sometimes you have to accept that your children have to suffer. Sometimes you just have to accept that people you love have to go through bad times. You don't want it. Nobody wants it. But sometimes that's the only way they learn. You know that lovely story? I mean, this also goes in for compassion for the happy, unhappy. Do you see how they all link? There's this lovely story. I think I've told it before, but it's one of my favorites because it just makes it so clear to me. There was a scientist, and he got a cocoon, a big cocoon. And inside he knew was a moth. And he was studying how the cocoon was working, how the moth was living on this cocoon. So every day he would watch this cocoon. And suddenly one day the cocoon started shaking, like as if the moth inside was really struggling. He looked at it 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and he thought, poor moth, wants to get out, struggling so much to get out. Why don't I make it easy for the moth? Why don't I just cut the cocoon and let the moth come out? Wow, of course, brilliant. So he cuts the cocoon and the moth comes out. But the moth doesn't fly. The wing, one wing is totally not developed. So the moth is crippled. And he realized that it was the struggle in the cocoon that would release the juices to allow the moth to grow in its own time. And when it was ready, it would come out of the dark cocoon and fly into light. He took out the moth too soon, and the moth could never fly. And this is sometimes what we do with our families and our children, say that our families. And it's wonderful to look after them. And especially today, mothers and fathers are so on top of their children all the time, you know, and yet they give them so much freedom. It's so strange, the upbringing. So much freedom on one hand, and so little freedom on the other hand. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So much, okay, you know, it's okay, you can shout back at the teacher. It's okay, you can be disruptive. At home, it's the other way. It's really odd. I do know this kind of new kind of teaching that I don't understand very much. And the children are getting so many mixed messages. And they don't allow them to learn. I'll do it for you because it's much faster if I do it for you.
Yeah.
It's going to take a long time. Kitchen's going to be in a big mess. But you teach them to do it themselves. Allow children to do things themselves. Allow people to do things for themselves. I remember when my daughter was 14, she's a great writer, she still is. She's 35 now. But she used to love writing. One day she wrote a lovely article. And she said, Mom, you know the guy from the newspaper very well. Will you show him my article? Maybe I could do this as a part-time job. I said, yes, I know him very well. Not going to do it for you. Why, Mom? You know, you should do it for me or my mother. I said, and that's why I won't do it for you, because I'm your mother and I love you so much. I have so much faith in your article. I think you need to go to him yourself and speak to him. How you do it is you make an appointment, call him up, this is his name. You can say you are my daughter, no problem. You make the appointment, you show him the article, but be prepared. If he doesn't like it, he's not going to print it, and I'm not going to call him to tell him to print it. That means you just have to work harder, get a better article. Okay. A few days she was trying to nag me, Mom, will you do it? No. Will you do it? And I thought, you know, my husband said, I think you're a bit hard on her. I said, you know, darling, if I do things for her, how is she ever going to learn? How is she ever? And she's good. She wasn't good. Maybe I need to help her, but she is smart. Anyway, she finally made the appointment. She got her first article printed when she was 14, and she made £7. Wow. Yeah. And she was very happy. And you know what she said to me? You did it right.
Yes.
Self-respect is very important. It gives you that feeling. You know, there is a power in me. I can do this. There is a strength in me. I'm not so weak. And throughout her life, and now she has a special needs, and I can see she's built that strong. She's strong, very strong. To deal with that, you need the strength. Otherwise, I couldn't be here. She'd be calling, Mommy, help, 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 every few minutes. Wouldn't she? She wouldn't be able to deal with life. And that's why the 4 locks and keys are really very important. And it almost sounds like, oh, how can you be so cruel? But it isn't. It's a little bit of detachment, because what you want is the best for everyone. You're coming, so long as you're coming from a pure place, remember, your intention is pure. Your feeling is pure. What is best for that person? Not what I want that person to be. I want my husband to be rich and famous. But maybe that's not meant for your husband. Or I want my wife to be a size 10, etc. But maybe she can't. Do you know what is best for the person? I'd like her to be slimmer because it's not good for her heart. I'm worried about her health. You know? Everybody gets older, our bodies change, acceptance, you know? It's the way we look at things. It's the intention from deep within that makes such a big difference. Sometimes the action looks hard, but the intention is so pure. Are you understanding that? You know? So in all of these 4 locks and keys, the most important thing that you have to understand is your communication with your own mind and yourself. Where are you coming from? You know, many times I give a talk and people go to me, oh, you know, really my partner should have been here, if it's male or female. My partner, this talk was meant for my partner. And I go, no. If it was meant for your partner would be here. It's meant for you. It wasn't meant for your partner. That's why you are here and your partner's not here. What are you in denial about? What are you in denial about? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person. It just means, what do you need to work within yourself? Maybe you're too soft. Maybe you're too hard. I don't know. You have to find out what you are and who you are. Because you live with yourself at the end of the day. Nobody can go into your mind except you. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that such a wonderful gift? That's where we can make a difference. We have the ability to make our own choices. And every time we make our own choices ourselves and walk that extra mile, that extra space that we're fearful of, every time we go out of the box a little bit more, we respect ourselves a little more. Every time we're less fearful, we like ourselves a little bit more. Every time we stick up for good beliefs and proud of who we are, our self-esteem develops. And with that self-esteem comes a flow to that divine source. Because what is the divine source? What is it? What is God? What is Ishvara? What is the universe? The yogis call it all truth, all knowledge, all bliss. Absolute. That's what we come from. That's us. So we strive to get back there. And the only time we can get back there is when this instrument here, A Beautiful Mind. Did you ever see that movie, Beautiful Mind? Yes. Interesting, right? When he was taught how to look at his mind separately from himself, he was able to survive in the world. Otherwise, he couldn't. He had to detach from all his visions. Did you see that? How many of you saw that movie? It's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's really very interesting because of the mind. He had to detach from things that he was seeing in order to survive this earth. So, yeah, we have to learn a certain amount of, and this is where the non-attachment comes in. This is not real. This is real. What is real? What is really real? You know, we say the mantra when we finish at the end of satsang sometimes, Asatto ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, nityo ma amritam gamaya. Lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. We are immortal, and we're so fearful of death. We are light, and we fight our light. We want to stay in our dark comfort zones. We think this life is real, when only it's an illusion. We already said, who leaves your body? Who comes into your body? What is your body? Temporary inhabitant place, temporary home, temporary temple. How are you going to treat your temporary home? How do you treat your home? Do you treat this home well? Do you fill it with nice things and nice thoughts and love and kindness and goodness? These are things that you have to feed yourself with self-respect. You love generosity in others, what should you do? Develop generosity. You love kindness in others. What should you do? Be kind. You love to see someone smile. What should you do? Smile. Yeah. Lighten the world up. It's a bit funny going, don't you think? I think everybody's just too serious all the time. Yeah, too serious about everything. Just that people spend more time being like the children.
Sleep.
Samadhi, right?
They're just absolutely fast
I know, that's great.
Every time they come here, they sleep.
Good, at least they're resting. It's good. It's good for them. Yeah, have some fun. You know, we just so serious. You know, life brings enough pain without us holding on to it for longer than we need to. Life brings enough pain without us grasping more on it. So we need to just lighten up. And these are all these practices that Sri Patanjali tells us we can do to lighten our lives. So let's go over the 4 locks and keys, and then we'll go to the next sutra. How are we doing for time? 10 more minutes, yeah. So, everybody, what is the first key and lock? Second? Third? And fourth?
Disregard for the wicked.
Yes, or a wicked act or an evil act. Don't give it energies, my words. You know, if somebody's really nasty, just ignore them totally. You know, after a while they get bored. You know, many of the divorces, one more thing I'll tell you before we go to the next sutra. Many divorces these days are such horrendous things. They really are horrendous things. What the horrendous? Why are they so horrendous? I really don't understand. You know, you love somebody for 20, 22 years and suddenly you're going to split and everything that you loved is suddenly hate and horrible and grabbing and I want. And I say, can't you remember your good times together? Sometimes I see these people and they go, don't you remember the day you got married? What did you feel? Oh, it's very much what I can't stand it now. I can't stand it. Okay, you don't like, you've had children with each other, you've lived 25 years with each other. I said, be civil, be kind. Don't be greedy, but many times I'll find one partner that is willing to practice this. You know, it's probably the person who comes to the talks, etc. And the other partner doesn't want to. And I've seen this in many cases, right? There's already 6 cases I've seen over the years. And this partner will, you know, come to me, Nalanie, my wife screamed down the phone, blah, 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 blah. I said, why do you listen? And then after she swore at me so much and said I just, screamed back at her and I said, you break the wall. And then she cries and tells your children that daddy spoke to me so badly. So now the children are upset. I said, you are the yogi. You should keep quiet. Why should I keep quiet? I said, don't you want the peace? And he goes, yes, I want the peace. I said, you know what you do? She calls you on the phone, shouts, say, sorry, I'm busy. Don't argue. Don't even listen. Just don't even give it that much energy. She'll stop shouting. He tried it. On and on and on, and every time he just said, sorry, I'm busy. If it's about the children, you can send me an email. After a while, she got bored. Then it came to the court case. She wanted everything. So I said, okay. They tried to settle out of court. She wouldn't. So she said, and he says, Nalanie, how am I going to support my kids? And now I have a new home. How am I going to support myself? I said, be fair. Be fair. Your children need looking after, and she's looking after them. So make sure they get what they deserve. But when you go, she wants it all, you're asking for little. It's good. Because you need to look after your children. She's looking after them. I said, but the lawyer said I'm not going to win the case. So I said, go to the court and ask the judge, show him your accounts. This is what I have. Do you want me to go on the dole? If I pay this alimony, means I'll have to go on the dole because I can't afford to look after them and me. I need this business in order to keep it, and we can't share it because otherwise there's going to be a war. We're going to be arguing. Can I keep this business? She can have that, and I'll keep this one because she wanted 50% of everything, and so I can make a living and give the alimony and live myself. And so anyway, he went to court. He was really agitated, really worried. This is not going to work. It's not going to work. Guess what?
It worked.
It totally worked. Not only that, he told the wife that she was taking way too much and she should give some of the furniture and some of the stuff to her husband. Because he was so gentle with it. He did it. But in order to do it, we had to work very hard. He came into my office, practiced creative visualization. She was getting angry, and he was just sending her light and love. It was not easy for him. It was hard work, but he did it. He made it. It was a year and a half. He made it. He did it. He got through it, you know? And everything is okay now. She can't be bothered to talk to him because he won't listen. So it's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to disregard, but at least now the peace is for the children. The children have some peace. And sometimes you just have to ignore. Somebody shouts at you, why are you on the phone? Listen. People used to send me hate mail when I first started yoga. Honest. They call me witch, look to my face on Main Street, I'm evil, I'm this. Walk away. Om Shanti, walk away. Om Shanti, walk
She
away.
really is a lunatic.
Do you know that chap that called me a witch on Main Street? No, it's really true. Actually, he was so like calling me a witch in Main Street in front of everybody. They were so worried they were going to call the police. I said, I'll just ignore him. Don't give it energy. Anyway, the same person couldn't stand me. He sent all these hate mails and to the newspaper saying that what I was teaching was a lot of rubbish. 1 year later, on a Sunday, I'm walking to the yoga center because there was some work that needed to be done there early in the morning. And who do I bump into? This guy that can't stand me, called me a witch. And so I just smiled, and he came up to me. And he goes, you know, Nalanie, I really think you're a good person. I just don't like the fact that you do yoga. I said, oh, is that all? Thank you. I said, and I think you're a good person too. And that was it. And he started talking to me. And a few years later, his house burned down. And I told one of our members who knew him, please let us give him a donation because he's a big family. But, you know, don't say it's from us, just say it's from you. Because if we said it from us, he wouldn't take it because it was yoga. And he was very Catholic. So we gave him a donation. All the committee agreed that we should. And so we did. It felt really good to do that. It felt really good to do that. So these are the ways life teaches us how we can act. You see, all these opportunities, I call them opportunities, of people being awful to us so that we can see we can build up our best in us. They're opportunities to grow spiritually. There's no God picking on you or no life being cruel to you. It's just opportunities to grow spiritually if you choose to. How do you behave in this circumstance? Sometimes you have to think a lot in the early days. Which action to take. But once you meditate daily basis, and every day you do swadhyaya, which is study of spiritual books, every day you read something, by itself in the years, it comes naturally. It just comes, and then you know, oh my God, I did this and I didn't even try. It was so natural. Because what is the real you? The real you is beautiful. The real you is divine. So the more you work with that real energy, that's what's going to come out. And your life will be divine, and you'll attract the same kind of people in your life. You'll attract the same kind of people. It works. Look at me 25 years ago and look at me today. I'm sitting in front of a group of people who I think are wonderful because they want to make life better. What better way to spend my life than to be around people like you? What better way? who want to better themselves. Wow! How lucky am I every single time I sit here and talk. See, so like attracts like. And that's exactly how it works. But you have to work on yourself. Nobody can do that for you, right? Keep remembering that is the secret. And on that note, I think some of you look very tired today. I think you have a long day. And initiates look a little tired after a long ceremony. So I won't do more sutras. Next week I'll finish all of book 1 up to 41 because the rest are not so heavy. Remember, Sutra 30, you have to memorize. Disease, dullness, doubt, carelessness, laziness. Sutra 32, accompaniments to these are trembling, distress, etc. And Sutra 33 today, we call it the 4 locks and keys. Actually, there's a little booklet that is the Yoga Center in Gibraltar edited from a talk I gave on the 4 locks and keys many years ago. It's the Yoga Center. It belongs to the Yoga Center. It doesn't belong to me because they did it. If anybody would like to purchase one, they're €4 and they're for the Yoga Center. It's not for us. We give it to charity. And if you can't afford it and you would like it, take it. Okay? Please just take it. If you like it and you really, this week €4 is hard, just take it. Don't have to say anything. Nobody will ask until you ask. Okay? So
I have one, thank you.
Okay.
I have one.
It's just so that you remember the 4 locks and keys, all right? So we'll finish off with 3 Oms, shall we? And if you don't mind, I'd love to do the healing mantra today because there's a lot of people who need healing. You know, yesterday I heard a few people were diagnosed with cancer, young people. So many young people being diagnosed with cancer, and let's pray for the healing of everyone, the earth, and just close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath.
Sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanam vrichor mokshye malitat. Om Trayambakam yajamahe Sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva Vandana Vricho Mokshe Maritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhi Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Vandana Vricho Mokshe Maritat. Jyotirgamaya Gamaya. Lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from darkness to the light. Lead us from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for your love. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple of